What it do, family? What it do? 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 This is Black is Go, episode 14. George Washington Carver. You know what I'm saying? So we about to really get into this, man. We about to really get into this. All right. So this is highlighting, you know what I mean? One of the greatest inventors and one of the most inspiring Black men, you know what I mean, within our culture. Salute to the homie Truth. Truth, what up, what up, what up? Whew, man, and this episode is needed for me personally because, you know what I mean, I just been struggling a lot just, today with keeping my vision and keeping my purpose alive. Not even far as a content creator. This shit is easy. I can do this shit without even thinking, or without even blinking my eyes. But you know what I mean? I'm in a particular field, and it's not really a lot of people ain't a lot of Black people in the field, all right? So because of that, I face a lot of things when I get into this field. You know what I mean? I face a lot of offhanded racism, a lot of direct racism, just a lot of different things, man, that I face within this field. And I know that, it's something I'm gonna have to go through, but I love what I do. But man, it takes a lot. But gentlemen like George Washington Carver are definitely inspiration because, even with everything he was going through, within the times he was going through, he never let his vision, what he wanted to leave him. You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest thing. Never let your vision leave you. You know what I mean? You got to stay focused on the things you're trying to get done. You know what I mean? You got to stay inspired. So let me get to the story with George Washington Carver. George Washington Carver, born sometime in 1864, okay? Transcended January 5th, 1943, was an American agricultural scientist and inventor who promoted alternative crops to cotton methods to prevent soil depletion. He's one of the most prominent Black scientists of the early 20th century. And I'll give you a little sneak peek. He's not going to be the only scientist or doctor, you know what I mean, or agricultural person that I get into on Black is Gold. I got somebody else coming up very, very soon. Y'all going to like this, but it's going to be bomb. You know what I mean? While a professor at Tuskegee Institute, Carver developed techniques to improve types of soil depleted by repeated plants of cotton. He wanted poor farmers to grow other crops such as peanuts and sweet potatoes as a source of their own food and to improve their quality of life. The most popular of his 44 practical bulletins for farmers contain 105 food recipes using peanuts. Wow. Although he spent years developing and promoting numerous products made from peanuts, none became commercially successful. Wow. That's wild, man. That's wild. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know he invented all those food recipes using peanuts. That's a lot. Apart from his work to improve the lives of farmers, Carver was also leading in promoting environmentalism. He received numerous honors for his work, including the Spingarn Medal of NAACP in the era of high racial polarization. His fame reached beyond the Black community. He was widely recognized and praised in the white community for his many achievements and talents. In 1941, Time magazine dubbed Carver a Black Leonardo. Wow. Okay. A color film of Carver shot in 1937 at the Tuskegee Institute by African-American surgeon Alan Alexander was added to the National Film Registry of the Library of Congress in 2019. The 12 minutes of footage includes Carver in his apartment, office, and laboratory, as well as images of him tending flowers and displaying his paintings. It was into his early years. Carver was born into slavery in Diamond Grove, New Diamond, Newton County, Missouri, near Crystal Place, sometime in the mid-1860s. The date of his birth, is uncertain. And it was not known to Carver, but it was before slavery was abolished in Missouri, which occurred in January 1865 during the American Civil War. His enslaver, Moses Carver, was a German-American immigrant who had purchased George's parents, Mary and Giles, from William P. McGinnis on October 9, 1855 for $700. Wow. Buying a human being for $700. Human beings for $700. That's crazy. Giles transcended before George was born, and when he was a week old, his sister and his mother were kidnapped by night raiders from Arkansas. George's brother James was rushed to safety from the kidnappers. The kidnappers sold the trio in Kentucky. Moses Carver hired John Benning to find them, but he found only the infant George. Moses negotiated with the raiders to gain the boy's return and rewarded Bentley. After slavery was abolished, Moses Carver and his wife Susan raised George and his older brother James as their own children. They encouraged George to continue his intellectual pursuits, and Aunt Susan taught him the basics of reading and writing. Black people were not allowed at the public school in Diamond Grove. George decided to go to a school for black children 10 miles, 60 kilometers south in Neosho. When he reached the town, he found the school closed for the night. He slept in a nearby barn. Wow. By his own account, the next morning he met a kind woman, Maria Watkins, from whom he wished to rent a room. When he identified himself as Carver's George, as he had done his whole life, she replied that from now on his name was George Carver. George liked Mary Watkins in her words. You must learn all you can, then go back out into the world and give your learning people back to the people. Your learning back to the people. Made a great impression on him. At age 13, because he wanted to attend the academy there, he moved to the home of another foster family in Fort Scott, Kansas. After witnessing the transcendence of a black man by a group of whites, Carver left the city. He attended a series of schools before earning his diploma at Minneapolis High School in Minneapolis, Kansas. During his time in Minneapolis, there was another George Carver in town, which caused confusion over receiving mail. Carver chose a middle initial at random and began requesting letters to him be addressed to George W. Carver. Someone asked once if the W stood for Washington, Carver grinned and said, "Why not?" However, he never used Washington as his middle name and signed his name as either George W. Carver or simply George Carver. Didn't even know that. Okay, I'm going to get into the Tuskegee Institute time, and I'm also going to get into his rise to fame. And after that, I'm out of here, y'all. All right? Now, get into the Tuskegee Institute, okay? In 1896, Booker T. Washington, the first principal and president of the Tuskegee Institute, now Tuskegee University, invited Carver to head his agricultural department. Carver taught there for 47 years, developing the department to a strong research center and working with 2 additional colleges presidents during his tenure. He taught methods of crop rotation, introduced several alternative cash crops for farmers that would also improve the soil of areas heavily cultivated in cotton, initiated research into crop products, chemistry, and taught generations of black students farming techniques for self-sufficiency. Carver designed a mobile classroom to take education out to farmers. He called it a Jessup wagon after New York financier and philanthropist Morris Ketchum Jessup, who provided funding to support the program. To return Carver to Tuskegee, Washington gave him an above-average salary and 2 rooms for his personal use. Although both concessions were resented by some other faculty because he had earned a master's in the scientific field from a white institution, some faculty perceived him as arrogant. Unmarried faculty members normally had to share rooms with two to a room in the spartan early days of the Institute. One of Carver's duties was to administer the agricultural experiment station farms, had to manage the production and sale of farm products to generate revenue for the Institute. He soon proved to be a poor administrator. In 1900, Carver complained that physical work and the letter writing required were too much. What's going on, M3? Good to see you. Thank you for checking in, bro. Appreciate you. Remember, Knowledge Relationships, they got the Valentine's thing going on for the singles. Come check it out. All right, everybody come through. Check it out, man. Definitely like subscribe to Knowledge Relationships. That's my other channel, our other channel. And definitely like subscribe to anything that we got going on, man. Any of our sister channels, anything that we got popping, man. You know what I mean? Including this channel, of course, but, all of our channels, man. Like and subscribe. All right? Thank you for pulling up, and appreciate you, bro. In 1904, Institute committee reported that Carver's reports on yields from the poultry yard were exaggerated. Washington confronted Carver about the issue. Carver replied in writing, "Now to be branded as a liar and party to such hellish deception, it is more than I can bear. And if your committee feel that I have willfully lied or was party to such lies as were told, my resignation is at your disposal." Excuse me, y'all. When Washington's last 5 years at Tuskegee, Carver submitted or threatened his resignation several times. When the administration recognized the agricultural program, when he disliked a teaching assignment to manage an experiment station elsewhere, and when he did not get summer teaching assignments in 1913 and 14. In each case, Washington smoothed things over. That's good. Carver started his academic career as a researcher and teacher. In 1911, Washington wrote a letter to him complaining that Carver had not followed orders to plant particular crops at the experiment station. This revealed Washington's micromanagement of Carver's department, which he had headed for more than 10 years by then. Washington at the time refused Carver's request for new laboratory research supplies for exclusive use and respite from teaching classes. Washington praised Carver's abilities in teaching and original research, but said about his administrative skills, when it comes to the organization of classes, the ability required to secure a properly organized law school or section of a school, you are one in ability. When it comes to the matter of practical farm management, which will secure definite practical financial results, you are wanting again in ability. Wow. Okay. Man, he was coming at his head. Okay. In 1911, Carver complained that his laboratory had not received the equipment which Washington had promised 11 months before. He also complained about Institute Committee meetings. Washington praised Carver in his 1911 memoir, My Large Education, being chapters from my experience. Washington called Carver one of the most thoroughly scientific men of the Negro race with whom I'm acquainted. After Washington transcended in 1915, his successor made fewer demands of Carver for administrative tasks. While a professor at Tuskegee, Carver joined the Gamma Sigma chapter of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. He spoke at the 1930 conclave that was held at Tuskegee, Alabama, which he delivered a powerful emotional speech to the men in attendance. From 1915 to 1923, Carver concentrated on researching and experimenting with new uses for peanuts, sweet potatoes, soybeans, pecans, and other crops, as well as having his assistants research and compile existing uses. This work, and especially his speaking to a national conference of the Peanut Growers Association in 1920 and a testimony before Congress in 1921 to support passage of a tariff on imported peanuts, because it brought him wide publicity and increasing renown. In these years, he became one of the most well-known African Americans of his time. All right, let's get to his rise of fame. After this, y'all, I'm out of here. All right. Okay. So, Carver developed techniques to improve soils depleted by repeated plantings of cotton. Together with other agriculture experts, he urged farmers to restore nitrogen to the soil by practicing systematic crop rotation. Alternating cotton crops were planted as sweet potatoes or legumes such as peanuts, soybeans, and cowpeas. These crops both restore nitrogen to the soil and were good for human consumption. Farmer crop rotation process resulted in improved cotton yields and gave farmers alternative cash crops. To train farmers to successfully rotate and cultivate the new crops. Carver developed an agricultural extension program for Alabama that was similar to the one at Iowa State. To encourage better nutrition in the South, he widely distributed recipes using alternative crops. He founded an alternative research laboratory where he and assistants worked to popularize the new crops by developing hundreds of applications for them. They did original research as well as promoting applications and recipes which they collected from others. Carver distributed his information as agricultural bulletins. Carver's work was known by officials in the national capital before he became a public figure. President Theodore Roosevelt, if you don't know who that is, do your research, probably admired his work. And also, I mentioned Booker T. Washington earlier. You can research on him too. He's a very pivotal figure as well. Everybody I mentioned in the beginning, please do your research, y'all. Former professors of Carver's from Iowa State University were appointed to positions as Secretary of Agriculture, James Wilson. Do your research on that person as well. A former dean and professor of Carver served from 1897 to 1913. Henry Catwell Wallace served from 1921 to 1924. He knew Carter personally because his son Henry A. Wallace and a researcher were friends. Diego Wallace served as U.S. Secretary of Agriculture from 1933 to 1940, and as Franklin Delano Roosevelt's vice president from 1941 to 1945. If you don't know who FDR is as far as president, do your research. And Henry A. Wallace and all these other people I mentioned as well. The American industrial farmer inventor William C. Ebon of Wynn Parish, Louisiana, grew peanuts on his demonstration farm. He resulted with Carver. In 1916, Carver was made a member of the Royal Society of Arts in England, one of only a handful of Americans at the time to receive this honor. Carver's promotion of peanuts gave him the most notice. By 1920, U.S. peanut farmers were being undercut by low prices on imported peanuts from the Republic of China. In 1921, peanut farmers and industrial representatives planned to appear at congressional hearings to ask for a tariff. Based on the quality of Carver's reputation at their convention, they asked African-American professor to testify on the tariff issues before the Ways and Means Committee of the United States House of Representatives. Due to segregation, it was highly unusual for African-Americans to appear as an expert witness at Congress representing European-American industry and farmers. Okay, that's some spam. Senate congressman reported shocked that Carver's arriving to testify was said to have mocked him. As he talked about the importance of the peanuts and its uses for American agriculture, the committee members repeatedly extended the time for his testimony. The Forney McCumbin tariff of 1922 was passed, including one of important peanuts. Carver testifying to Congress made him widely known as a public figure. Okay. So after this, he just lived the rest of his life, being famous and things of that nature. But, as you see, he was an inventor. He was a socialite. He was a politician. George Washington Carver has had a lot of different avenues. And I think that's important for us as a people to be multifaceted. You know what I'm saying? And to, even though the road's going to get hard, even though people are not going to support you, even though things are going to happen in that nature, we got to be multifaceted. We got to keep our eye on the ball, and we got to keep our eye on doing what we need to be doing. You know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest thing, man. Just keep yourself focused on what you need to do. You know what I mean? Deal with the emotions of what's going on, but don't let it overtake you. You feel what I'm saying? And I think that's what George Washington Carver did. He stayed focused on his purpose. You know what I mean? Even though at times, like you heard, he was mocked for speaking out. He was mocked for, trying to bring, healthy solutions for all Americans, not just for Black people, but for all Americans. But at that time, it was like, who is this man who is Black, who we don't look at as a citizen, trying to tell us how to be healthy? You know what I'm saying? Trying to tell us how to be better. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to get challenged. When you're trying to make strides, in a different field, or you're trying to make strides, period, they're going to face opposition, okay? It's going to be difficult. Some people are not going to want you around because of your age, your gender, your race, or anything like that. That's going to happen, people. I hate to say it, but it will. All right? But you cannot take your eyes off the prize. Deal with your pain, deal whatever's going on, deal what you feel. But just like George Washington Carver and a lot of other people I'm about to get into, they dealt with their pain and they moved forward. You know what I mean? They kept moving forward. You know what I mean? Because they knew they had something special, that they had to bring to this world. They knew they had something special waiting on them, once they transcended. So they just wanted to leave a legacy that would far outlive them, and that would be far reaching after their, for a lifetime for others. You know what I'm saying? So salute to George Washington Carver for being an inventor, for speaking out, even though at times people mocked him because of the color of his skin and everything else. But salute to him for just being open with who he was, who he is, and not giving up his vision. You know what I mean? I want to say salute to him to not give up his vision. You know what I mean? He was made fun of and everything, but he never gave up. And that's a big part of what it has to be. You can't give up, man. You cannot give up at all. You know what I'm saying? So salute to George Washington Carver. You know what I'm saying? As always, y'all, be intentional, okay? Be intentional what you don't. Be intentional of getting some rest. I'm also going to be intentional on just, relaxing, focusing, staying focused on my vision and my goals, not getting upset or getting down. I mean, feeling the emotion, but not letting it overcome me, not letting it overtake me, all right? That's what we got to do. Just stay focused on what I need to do. Don't let the emotion, don't let the moment overtake you, and be intentional on your purpose. With that being said, y'all, this is Black is Gold, episode 14. George Washington Carver. Thank you for tuning in. You know what I mean? Love you guys. And I'll be back tomorrow. Can I give him a sneak peek? Let me see. Now you give me a sneak peek. I'm just gonna pop it up, all right? So this time I'll probably send out like links and stuff like that. I'll probably have people to maybe probably come up with things of that nature. Or just kind of watch the stream. But yeah, I just been kind of just knocking these out. So y'all can have them, y'all can watch them. They can be here for the education and viewing pleasure. But yeah, y'all, much love, y'all. Thanks for checking out Black is Gold, episode 14. George Washington Carver. Peace.
DJ.